And first of all, I take as my starting point the statement by Professor David Crystal from his book Language Death from the year 2000, that endangered languages will progress if its speakers can make use of electronic technology. So I'm speaking now specifically about the use of electronic technology. And we've taken this to heart in Wales because now we have a new language strategy for the next 5 years. Last night I was given the development strategy for the Estonian language for the next 5 years, and I was surprised at how similar it is in many respects. And that strategy also emphasizes the need for maximizing the potential of technology such as the internet and new social media. But before I start with this, maybe I need to tell you a bit more about the situation of Welsh. And this is our strategic area number 6, the infrastructure, which again emphasizes the desired outcome of more tools, more resources to facilitate the use of Welsh, including in the digital environment. So, before I go into this in detail, we are about 600,000 speakers of Welsh, so about half as many people speak Welsh as speak Estonian. We're only 21% of the population of Wales. That means there are about 3 million people in Wales, but we emphasise that the Welsh language belongs to everyone. The previous language strategy was called Everyone's Language because the support of those who do not yet speak Welsh is very important to us, and we are looking at regaining lost ground, regaining those speakers to the Welsh language. So we have a situation where the numbers of speakers aren't distributed evenly throughout the country. I'll show this on a map in a minute. It might be clearer to understand on a map. But we have the largest percentage of speakers in North and West Wales, but the largest numbers of speakers in South East Wales, because that's where your large cities of Cardiff and Swansea are. So even though the percentage of Welsh speakers there is small, they are very large in terms of numbers. Throughout the 20th century, the numbers and the percentage of Welsh speakers was going down and down. Again, I'll show you this on a graph in a minute. But this language decline was reversed in 2001. We are now awaiting the census results from 2011, and we hope that the graph will continue to go back up. And very important for us, the largest increase has been in the younger age group. This is important for the Welsh language in general, but also for our focus on electronic resources, because the electronic media are very important, very popular as well with the younger age group. And as we've heard from other language communities in this conference, teaching and education through our native language is again very important for language revitalisation. And in Wales, not only the teaching of Welsh as a second language in schools, but also as the medium of instruction in Welsh medium schools, noticeably where parents who don't speak Welsh send their children there. So you have Welsh medium schools where maybe as many as 95% of the children come from English-speaking homes. But that's how we've been able to regain lost ground. So as I said, I'd show you this on a map. This is a map of Wales. The darker the green on the map, the higher the percentage of Welsh speakers. So on your right-hand side there you have the border with England. So you see the English language encroached from the border with England going inwards towards the west. On the west there you have the sea, that's the Celtic Sea, with Ireland about 50 miles or 100 kilometres to the west of us. And so you will see that it is a very patchy and fragmented area in terms of percentage of Welsh speakers. But we have taken the viewpoint that Welsh is the language of the whole of Wales. So our strategies for revitalisation drew attention to this decline and said, look, we have to act now or we will lose our language. And this is really more important for us than gaining self-government. Self-government can wait. Saving the language cannot wait. And we were very happy in the year 2001 to see on the graph that we were regaining lost ground. So, the vision for the next 5 years in our new language strategy, we are now moving the focus from just counting the number of people who can speak the language to an emphasis on giving those people the opportunity to use the language. So being able to use that language isn't enough, you have to actually use it. And that means creating new opportunities to use Welsh. And also to increase people's confidence and fluency in the language. Because, as we've heard of other language communities, you have the older generation who never had education through the medium of Welsh, who cannot read and write Welsh, and who feel they might be criticised for bad Welsh in formal situations. So giving them electronic resources to help them in their confidence and fluency is important to us. And skipping to the last point on this slide, the strong representation of Welsh throughout the digital media. Again, it's one of the action points stated in the new language strategy. So, how can electronic technology help us? First of all, in the visibility of the language. On your interface, on your computer, is it in Welsh? Can you see Welsh there? In the creation of content, and we're talking about things like novels and songs and television and film and radio, educational content, your textbooks, information, your public service announcements, your official forms, your tax returns, all these sort of media now, they need to be available in Welsh. And more, these things are distributed in a digital environment. We are now looking very much at the use of e-books, e-publishing to distribute novels in Welsh, because your market is very small. It might not be worth publishing a book in paper format, but using e-books makes it much easier both to publish and to disseminate whatever it is that you want people to read. And of course, now you have the possibility of having not just your geographical communities, but also your communities of interest. We've heard about other small language communities where people live in dispersed communities, but they can communicate virtually via Facebook, Twitter and so on. So this again is something we are paying attention to. And again, it's not just enough to have a content in that language to be able to use it to talk to each other, but you need your interface to be available in that language to give it the status and the visibility. So for example, Facebook was translated into Welsh by a community of volunteers. They worked together to do this. And also we have a great deal of open source software and things like Google programs, or not Google, sorry, Firefox or OpenOffice and so on, which are open source, where people can go and translate on a voluntary basis. And this has been done for Welsh, and it means that it has a presence in that virtual electronic space, and it makes it more acceptable for people to use Welsh in that environment. But my unit in the university has been more concerned with creating language tools for fluency and for confidence aids. And my next few slides, I think, will show you some of these slides. So we are now dealing with standardized terminologies and electronic dictionaries, spelling and grammar checkers, second language learning programs, translation technology, because remember, we do not, as a minority language, have our own unique space. We always live in the shadow of English in our case, and therefore we have to have policies of bilingualism, and therefore the translator is an important person to enable communication between Welsh and English, so translation technology is there for that reason. Also bilingual interface development, and also speech technology. Speech technology means both text-to-speech, where something is written on your computer or you type it in and you have an automatic voice reading that out in your language. That is well developed for Welsh, but I don't have time to talk about that today. The second part of the technology, where you speak into the machine and it either recognizes your commands or your speech, or it will type that out in your language. That is more difficult. We have done some projects of that for Welsh, but it's not as well developed yet as text-to-speech. But I read again in development policy that that is something that you wish to develop in the next few years as well. So I will now show you, first of all, this is a picture of our interface for our national terminology portal. I've been showing, I took a picture of the English language interface in every case to help you read them here, but every time we have dual language interfaces, we have a button that makes it easy for you to change from Welsh to English and back on every page. Now this brings together over 20 terminology dictionaries, standardized terminologies for different fields, including education, the environment, law, and so on and so forth. We have a search, a search box there. So you type in the term you're looking for to make it very easy and very quick to use. I use the example of plant here because I wanted an example that was both a Welsh word and an English word. Very different meanings, not the same thing at all, but just to show you that this programme can differentiate between a word in Welsh and a word in English. I have no time to go into it now, but if you want to ask me questions at the end or over coffee, you're welcome to do so. So this is the first platform we have, our specialist terminology dictionaries. But 2 weeks ago, we launched this electronic version of our major English to Welsh dictionary. This is a traditional paper-based dictionary, first published in 1995. Very big piece of work, very difficult for a translator to find what they want in it. So we were asked to provide it in an electronic format. And here I've again given you the example of the word plant, the English word plants now. But the good thing about this dictionary is when you do an advanced search. Now, an advanced search enables you not just to look at the head word, the articles within the dictionary. And as we've heard again from other languages, it's very difficult to translate idioms and things that aren't translated literally. So this sort of ability to search quickly in an electronic environment really does help you not translate literally, but the proper idiom for that word in a phrase. So that has been a major step forward for us. And we move now to another programme, and this is our spelling and grammar checker. As I said, people don't have a lot of confidence in writing Welsh. They're afraid they spell things incorrectly, and they're afraid that their grammar is not very good. So we have a project which we have sold to Microsoft for inclusion in their Office package as a spell checker for Welsh. We've also provided it for the OpenOffice word processing package. We also sell it as part of a compendium, a CD compendium, but we found that we needed to do a free online version, which is what we have here. In reality, we use this free online version to gather a corpus of Welsh errors, because it's very difficult to gather a corpus of badly written Welsh otherwise, because by the time it comes to be published, it has been corrected usually. So we use this to gather a corpus for our own research needs also. But here for you, I've made a deliberate grammar error. So you can see that it has corrected it for us and gives the grammar rule. Here we have a particular problem with Welsh. Apart from anything else, it makes it very difficult for somebody learning Welsh to look up a word in a dictionary which follows the alphabetical order. So this is very important for learners to understand. And there you have that sort of help for the learner, of the person who's not very sure of their Welsh grammar. Okay. And now here we have a programme for learning Welsh as a second language. And you might know that in Wales we're crazy about the game of rugby. And I see some of my French colleagues here laughing because this afternoon we have a very important rugby game where Wales will be playing France, and we have found a pub in Tallinn which will be showing the game live. So anybody who wants to come with us after the conference this afternoon and see Wales beat France, well, hopefully beat France with apologies to our French colleagues here. But what we have done here is taken the game of rugby and used it to teach grammar lessons. So here we are pretending, this is an online game by the way, it's on the BBC's website and it has sound and it's moving, so this is just a silent slide of it for you. But we are pretending that we are in the changing rooms before the rugby game and we're discussing tactics, but it's just a way to show that grammar rule. And then we move on to play the game. And here the object is to teach a certain mutation, which is on the rugby ball. The first word is on the rugby ball. It's really a multiple choice question. There are 3 possible answers. Only one of those is correct. The rugby ball has to be passed to the player with the correct answer on their rugby shirts. If that happens, then Wales scores a try. If we fail in this game, Scotland scores a try. It goes on in different levels until we reach, I think we play New Zealand in the final game. So it uses the scoring methods of rugby to see how well you can mutate or do your grammar in Welsh. So this is just one example of many language games where we have tried to present grammar in an interesting and fun way, we hope. But also we have some serious programs, and this now is our new translation technology platform. It is not yet released. It will be released internally in the university at the end of this month. And it combines both translation memory, that is, when you have old translations you've done before, it will pop up for you. You don't have to retranslate the same thing twice. So that is part of it. But also we have pure machine translation here. Now, we don't want people to use pure machine translation to translate from English into Welsh, because it is not yet good enough. Although we have many scandals of people trying to use machine translation and the result is rubbish. But it can be useful in a translation memory system as an offering that the translator can read and accept and improve a little bit, and that saves time, because you might know if you live in a bilingual situation yourself, translation is very, very expensive. It's very time consuming, and we need ways of making the process faster and cheaper. and not losing out on the quality at the same time. So the other thing we've done here is incorporate our spelling and grammar checker. Now in this instance, the message comes up in Welsh only because we hope the translator, of course, understands the Welsh here. But the Cysill programme, that spelling and grammar programme you saw earlier on, that is incorporated here. So as you type your translation, it will alert you to something which is spelt wrongly or whether grammar is incorrect. And as a next step, we also hope to incorporate our dictionaries here, both the specialist terminology dictionaries and the general language bilingual dictionaries. So we are now moving from what used to be called pull technology, where you had to pull your terminology into your translation memory, into what we call now push technologies. So you are now pushing the right term or the right translation into your translation environment. So that work is still under development, but that is the sort of work we are doing. And because we don't have the money that large languages like English have to spend on the languages, we have to work smarter. We have to reuse what we've done for other projects and incorporate them into any new technology that we create. And so for the speech technology as well, what lies behind that is the same grammar rules, the same terminology lists, the same bilingual corpora. So that is the way we are trying to do a great deal of work with very little resources, really. But how do we know that these tools are effective in revitalizing our language? And it's not just us as developers of these technologies who are asking this question. The government just published an evidence review to go with the new strategy. And this is a new departure for those of us who are working with the Welsh language. What they said was that there's a significant lack of empirical evidence in relation to the impact of individual initiatives.